Hello and welcome. I'm Asuma Katauka and you're watching the World Report on NewsX World. Let's take a look at some of the headlines of this hour. Azerbaijan's Foreign Minister Ceyhun Bayramov has said that Azerbaijan is evacuating its diplomats from Iran for their own safety. This comes a day after Baku said 4 Iranian drones had crossed its border and injured 4 people in the Nakhchivan exclave. The Trump administration is urging aerospace companies to immediately ramp up production as strikes on Iran depletes U.S. munition stocks. A drone strike on Raf Akrotiri in Cyprus has triggered widespread demands for the removal of British military bases from the island. The attack, which damaged a hangar housing U.S. spy planes, has stoked public fears that the UK presence is dragging neutral Cyprus directly into the Iran conflict. The Kremlin reports a significant rise in global demand for Russian oil and gas. As the war in Iran disrupts traditional supply chains, Moscow has reiterated its role as a reliable energy partner, positioning itself to fill the void left by the near-total shutdown of the Strait of Hormuz. Despite a lack of progress towards a peace agreement to end their 4-year war, the Russian Foreign Ministry has said Russia and Ukraine have exchanged 300 POWs each today. This announcement follows their exchange of 200 POWs yesterday. The Kremlin warns that Finland's plan to lift a ban on hosting nuclear weapons would raise tensions in Europe and make the Nordic nations more vulnerable. The United States and Venezuela agreed to re-establish diplomatic and consular relations in a major shift aimed at promoting stability, economic recovery, and political reconciliation. The U.S. Justice Department releases new FBI records from the Jeffrey Epstein investigation, summarizing interviews with a woman who accuses President Donald Trump of sexual encounter in the 1980s when she was just a teenager. Now we move on and we start with the breaking news from Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia's defense ministry has announced that it had successfully intercepted and destroyed a cruise missile near the central Al-Harj area. The missile was intercepted east of the Al-Harj governorate, marking another significant defense achievement amid heightened regional tensions. The Saudi authorities did not specify the missile's origin, but reassured the public that the attack had been thwarted without causing any casualties or damage. Now we welcome Mr. Martin Seivreitz. He's an international affairs expert, joins us live from Ecuador. Thank you very much, Mr. Reitz, for joining us again. Good to see you.
Welcome.
Thank you. Now, do we know the capacity of Saudi Arabia in defending themselves? Does it also rely on defense stuff from US?
Yes, so basically Saudi Arabia, they're dependent on American and also allegedly Israeli intelligence. They have this allyship. So Saudi Arabia, they have a very good economy due to the fact that they're an oil country. They have a lot of reserves of oil and they have a really great economy, but their capacity of intelligence, of retaliation, of airspace defense is very limited. So they're dependent on the help of the US, basically the biggest Western ally, and in the region, Israel. Even though Saudi Arabia and Israel they do not have official relationships, it's well known that Israel provides a lot of these Sunni countries that are aligned with the US the capability to defend themselves against the threat of Iran.
Right. And how is Saudi Arabia going to be moving forward? How will Saudi Arabia view US's partnership and the significance of holding or allying with US, the risks that they carry as a host of U.S. bases, since if it did not have had U.S. bases, it would not maybe have been targeted in this attack, right?
You're absolutely right. They are being targeted because of the fact that they have American bases. However, this allyship between Saudi Arabia and the U.S. comes with their pros and cons. One of the pros has been that the free trade, their economy that has been growing because of the American support, and they have been witnessing a growth in their public system, in their economy because of the oil companies and the U.S. support. But it also comes with the cons. In this case, the cons of this allyship is being subject of attacks because of the fact that they have these American bases on their ground. So I think the development of this relationship between Saudi Arabia and the U.S. is gonna keep going forward, and it's gonna be getting stronger because they don't have another option. They have the bases there. Their only option is to trust that they will be helped by the U.S. to defend themselves. And politically talking, and the best strategy is to keep going with this allyship. They cannot go back at this point.
And how do you think that, President Trump, now that he has said that there will be no deal with Iran except unconditional surrender, has said this in his Truth Social, I believe. So what now? Do you think that Iran will surrender? Since from the beginning, Iran had been pressured so much with sanctions and many things, but Iran had always been so bold. Do you think that is this kind of pressure works on Iran?
It doesn't work. It doesn't work because we're dealing with an Iranian regime that is fully authoritarian, and not only that, but fundamentalist. They are not thinking with logic. They think with a fundamentalist, middle-aged ideology that is killing people, that is destructing their country, but they will never surrender. They prefer to die instead of surrender to the ideas that they have, which is going forward with the Islamic project. They will never surrender, and I think also neither the U.S., also Trump has a very authoritarian behavior, so he will never surrender or try to deal with Iran, because that will mean that Trump lost the war. So Trump will never try to surrender or to go to a deal. So I think we are in the beginning of a very long war.
Yes, indeed. Thank you very much, Mr. Wrights, for highlighting that. Please do stay with us as we come back to you for our next discussion as well. Now, staying in the region, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has visited the site of an Iranian missile attack in southern Israel today and vowed to complete all missions in retaliation. The attack, which hit a residential neighborhood in Beersheba on March 2nd, left 19 people lightly injured. Standing by the crater caused by the missile strike, Netanyahu has reaffirmed Israel's commitment to targeting the Iranian regime and Hezbollah in Lebanon. On the same day, Israel has reported that 50 of its warplanes has struck a bunker beneath the destroyed Tehran compound of Supreme Leader Ali Khamenei, who was killed earlier. Israel also conducted airstrikes on Beirut and ordered the unprecedented evacuation of the city's southern suburbs, marking a significant escalation in the ongoing conflict.
ביום השביעי של מבצע שאגת הארי, אנחנו מכים באויב, גם בהנהגה שלו, גם במשטר הדיכוי שלו, וגם במטרות שונות, כולל התפעל מכושר העמידה האיתנה של האזרחים. בהגנה, מה שצריך זה משמעת ברזל, ועמידה איתנה. יש לנו את זה כאן בשפע. בהתקפה, מה שדרוש זה שלושה דברים. קודם כל נחישות, שנית יוזמה, ושלישית תחבולה. כאלה יש לנו בשפע, כפי שהאויב כבר גילה, ואני מוסר לכם, אזרחי ישראל, הוא יגלה ביתר שאת. אנחנו בדרך להשלמת כל...
Now, we would like to welcome first retired Major General A.K. Sivachi. He's a geostrategic expert, joins us live from New Delhi. Thank you very much, Major General, for joining us. Now, looking at the Israel situation, as some missiles have penetrated into Iron Dome and, caused damage in Israel, how do you analyze the current capacity of Iran and also the capacity of Israel? Do you think they were ready for all kinds of retaliation towards themselves from Iran, since some of the missiles did penetrate into Iron Dome?
The point is, first of all, if you see it as far as the US and Israel is concerned, I suppose they underestimated the strength of Iran. And that is the first point which is coming. And they thought that once Ayatollah al-Khamenei has been eliminated, along with the top 40 commanders, which including the defense minister, as well as the top military IRGC commander, that the regime may collapse and they will be amenable for some talks. But that has not happened. The Iran is striking back. And now the point which come is that the 12 days war which took place last year, there were almost 10 to 15% missiles which were able to hit onto the target. This time, Israel, what they did, they made a multi-layered air defense system, which has got Iron Dome, which has got Iron Beam, which has got David Sling. Then it has got arrow system, it has got Patriot missile, it has got THAAD. But that has not deterred the missiles and rockets being hit on the target. Still 10%, 5 to 10% are hitting, and they are damaging. But what what Iran had done this time, that it has enhanced the war zone. It started hitting the military bases of US in the Middle East. And that is where the whole thing now takes a turn, in the sense that all these countries, whether it is Saudi Arabia, UAE, Oman, Jordan, Bahrain, Qatar, their oil fields have been also struck, the energy sector, their supply chain hit, and they are the one which will be now forcing US to stop the war because they are adversely affected. Once upon a time, the Americans have come there to give them protection. Today, they have become a liability for these countries because, after all, Iran is attacking on them because they have allowed the American to come. And why they are selecting basically Middle East to be struck by the Iran, they are closer to Iran, is surprise factor. The chances of hitting in Middle East are higher than Israel because these Middle East states do not have multi-layer. They only have a THAAD, terminally high altitude area defense, and Patriot missile. So therefore, as far as Iran is concerned, it has made this war a regional war. And regional war in the sense, it has also closed the Strait of Hormuz, where 20% of the world oil goes. So the economy is being affected badly all around the world. You remember, the oil prices have gone from $60 billion, $60 per barrel, to now almost more than $83 per barrel. So it is affecting adversely everyone. In addition to that, Hezbollah and Houthi rebels have also become very active. They were to become active in case Iran was attacked. Hezbollah is attacking from Lebanon on the northern portion of Israel, as well as Houthi is hitting or is disturbing and disrupting the line of communication, as well as the ships which are going toward Mediterranean to Europe. So overall, the strategy of Iran this time is to increase the scope of this war, make it a regional war, and hit where it hurts, and it will keep on fighting till the time it has got arsenal of missile, rockets, and drones. It is standing alone. It doesn't have too many friends. As far as Russia and China are concerned, they have helped Iran basically in drone, missile, as well as in real-time intelligence.
Yes, thank you very much. Yes, Major General, I must also welcome my other guest as well. Thank you very much for sharing that. Mr. Arais, thank you for staying with us. Building on Major General Siwachi's answer and insight, how dangerous is this escalation or the strategy of Iran that if I go down, we all go down together, it seems?
Absolutely. I think we of the Third World War, and I'm not exaggerating, because of all of the facts that we have. We have the U.S. president, which has this expansionist vision of the Western Hemisphere, and that according to his vision, the Western Hemisphere belongs to him. We have this lunatic terrorist regime from Iran that they want to Islamize the whole Middle East. They want to engage in basically funding terrorism throughout the world. We have these Sunni countries that are in an allyship with the US, which are a target for the Islamic regime terror, and they're just next to them. So I think we have a lot of actors. The West, Europe is also engaging. We have like a major division between the European Union. Spain is rejecting the war. Germany is focusing in strengthening the allyship with Trump. We're seeing that in the NATO allyship, we're also seeing a lot of actors that are breaking their allyship. So I think we're in a boiling point in this time that the whole world is becoming a dangerous place and is only going to escalate.
Thank you very much to both our guests for sharing that insight with us. Now we have some more updates. Now, Israel's military spokesperson, Lieutenant Colonel Nadav Shoshani, has reported that Iran and Hezbollah has launched coordinated missile attacks aimed at overwhelming Israel's aerial defense systems. The attack occurred on 5th March, marking a significant escalation on the ongoing conflict. Although the military has confirmed the missile launch was intended to breach Israel's defenses, they stated that there had been no significant hits on Israeli territory in the last 24 hours. The military continues to monitor the situation closely as tensions rise. In another statement, Shoshani has confirmed that Hezbollah had launched approximately 70 rockets towards Israel the whole day, with many coming in from southern Lebanon. Since Israel's strikes on Lebanon began earlier this week, Israeli forces have hit over 500 targets across Lebanon, killing 70 Hezbollah fighters. Lebanon's health ministry has reported that 217 people have been killed in Israeli strikes, many of whom were civilians. Now we welcome back Mr. Martin Sai-Rides. He's joining us live from Ecuador. Thank you very much, Mr. Rides, for staying with us. Now, you know, as today earlier I mentioned that Israeli minister has warned Iran that they will be completing all its missions in retaliation to Iran. What is the mission that he's talking about from Israel's perspective? Do you think that it wasn't just destroying the hierarchy and the top commanders of Iran?
So for Israel, this war means an existential war. We need to remember that Iran openly and widely has been speaking about erasing Israel from the map. So for Israel, this war means their future existence. Even if that means going to a full war against the regime, the Iranian regime. I think what the Prime Minister of Israel wanted to, actually I speak Hebrew, so I understood perfectly what he said, is that he's going to be determined and they need to hit Iran with determination, with power and strength, and they will not give up until the threat is over. What is the threat? The Islamic Republic, which is the regime. It's not Khomeini, it's not the person who's going to replace him, it's the whole ideology of the Islamic regime, which needs to be erased for the interests of Israel, for its future existence in the region. So I think it's pretty clear Israel is going to go to a full war against the regime, and they will try to change the regime to another one that is not a threat to their existence.
Thank you for highlighting that. I would like to also welcome back retired Major General Ike Siwachi. Thank you very much, Major General, for staying with us. Now, building on Mr. Wright's take, what do you think is the motive here or the goal here for Israel, and what do you think is the goal for US? Do you think they are aligned 100%? What's your take?
The problem as far as US goalposts are concerned, and it is being changed. Initially when Trump has attacked, they're talking about three goalposts. One is regime change. Second thing is completely destroy the nuclear installation of Iran, and third was to basically to contain the missiles, the number as well as the range. And to some extent, even the Israelis also have the same aim. They will want that the nuclear weapons of Israel must be destroyed, because this is the right time when Iran is the weakest, because Iran regime is weak after 12-day war last year, and its the proxies Hezbollah, Houthi and Hamas are also very weakest. So possibly main aim of Israel is to ensure that no nuclear weapon as far as Israel is concerned. Whereas the US wants, in addition to nuclear, a regime change, a regime which is pliable to American decision. Because actually what is America looking is looking for basically oil. Because it went, what happened in Venezuela? It went in Venezuela. They kidnapped Nicolas Maduro. They have put Delcy Rodriguez. Now she's cooperating with US. It is the oil which the American want. Now the complete oil is being monitored and exported through America. Here also, America real interest is the Iran oil, because the rest of the Middle East is totally in control of US. So the point is, as far as America is concerned, that a government which is pliable to US is must. At the same time, a nuclear also, that Iran should not be nuclear in future. But one thing is very clear, that you can't have regime change without boots on ground. And boots on ground, America will not do it. What the lesson which they have learned in Iraq and Afghanistan. So now the goalpost is being changed. What US is trying to convey is that the nuclear facility should not be there, missiles should come. But regime change, they are now changing their stance. They are not saying that this regime will be completely changed with some new regime, which is not possible without boot. They say that regime, someone in this regime only who is palatable, who is able to
Yes.
listen to the demands of US. I think that is a thing. That's why every
Yes.
analyst is telling that America is changing goalposts too many times. One does not have a plan. What is the end plan of US? No one knows it.
Yes.
That's something which is worrying everyone.
We are indeed thinking about that. Thank you very much to both our guests for joining us today and sharing that insight with us. Now we have a breaking news coming in from France. In response to the ongoing Middle East conflict, France has deployed an amphibious helicopter carrier to the Mediterranean, strengthening its military presence in the region. A spokesperson for the French military has confirmed the move today, highlighting the increased need for reinforcement amid rising tensions. This deployment follows earlier decisions to send France's flagship aircraft carrier and a frigate earlier in the week. A similar ship had previously been stationed off of Lebanon's coast during the 2024 war between Israel and Hezbollah, offering a precautionary measure for repatriation. Now we have another breaking news from North America. Canada's Foreign Minister Anita Anand has announced that approximately 3,500 Canadians have requested assistance to leave the Middle East and Gulf regions. She has confirmed that 108,000 Canadians in the region had registered with Global Affairs Canada. Of these, 3,500 individuals have reached out for help in departing the area amid growing tensions. Anand has outlined 3 options for Canadians seeking to leave: charter flights, block bookings, and ground transportation, when feasible and safe. She has stressed that the situation in the region remains volatile and unpredictable, which has made evacuation efforts challenging. Regarding Canada's stance on the ongoing conflict, Anand has clarified that Ottawa has no intention to participate on Operation Epic Fury. She has further confirmed that Canada was not consulted on the operation and has not participated in it, signaling the country's decision to remain uninvolved in military actions in the region. Now we move on to news from Germany. German Chancellor Friedrich Merz has called for the preservation of Iran's territorial integrity as the war involving Israel and the United States against Tehran threatens to spread across the Middle East. Merz has warned that the collapse of Iranian statehood or proxy conflicts on Iranian soil would not serve anyone's interest and could have far-reaching consequences for Europe's security and stability. He said Germany is working with international partners to formulate a common stance to end the hostilities, while Merz has stressed that maintaining public order, basic services, and a functional Iranian state is essential. He has highlighted the need to prevent uncontrolled migration from Iran. He has added that sanctions could be eased and aid provided if certain conditions are met, reflecting Berlin's emphasis on stability and humanitarian concerns in the region. Let's in fact listen into what he has shared on this.
Hier auch deutlich für die Bundesregierung sagen, wir teilen die Ziele der Vereinigten Staaten von Amerika und auch des Staates Israel, die das iranische Nuklear- und Raketenprogramm genauso wie Teherans Bedrohung des Landes Israels und seiner Nachbarn, die Unterstützung von Terrorismus und der sogenannten Proxys in der Region betreffen. Und ich will das auch deutlich sagen, das iranische Volk hat das Recht, frei über sein Schicksal zu entscheiden. Das ist mit ein Grund dafür, dass wir so sehr darauf drängen, dass die Eigenstaatlichkeit des Iran erhalten bleibt. Wir möchten hier kein syrisches Szenario erleben, sondern wir möchten, dass dieser Staat aus sich selbst heraus funktionsfähig wird. Und deswegen auch mein Appell sowohl in Washington als auch in allen Gesprächen mit der israelischen Regierung, so schnell wie möglich die Voraussetzungen dafür zu schaffen, dass dieses Land stabilisiert wird, dass es eine demokratisch legitimierte Regierung bekommt und dass es eben auch als Staat weiter bestehen kann. Es ist ein Land mit über 90 Millionen Einwohnern und wir haben natürlich auch insofern ein hohes eigenes Interesse daran, um auch neue Flüchtlingsströme.
Now we move on to North America. Mexico has announced that it will deploy 100,000 police, military, and private security forces to ensure safety during the 2026 FIFA World Cup. The country co-hosting the event with the United States and Canada has unveiled its security plan ahead of the tournament starts this summer. This move comes just days after an explosion in Guadalajara, one of the three Mexican host cities, following the death of drug lord Nemesio Oseguera Cervantes, alias El Mencho. Now we stay in North America. U.S. Energy Secretary Chris Wright has clarified that allowing India to purchase Russian oil is a temporary move, with no shift in the overall policy towards Russia. Has explained that the measure is short-term, aimed at stabilizing oil prices in the global market. Wright has emphasized that this decision is designed to keep oil prices manageable, though he has reiterated that it does not signal a broader change in the U.S. stance towards Russia. The move is seen as a brief adjustment to address immediate concerns related to energy markets without altering long-term foreign policy objectives. Now, my colleague and senior editor Uday Pratap Singh has spoken to the former chief of RNAW on India's position on the Middle East conflict and what's next for the conflict hit Iran. All this and more at the Raisina Dialogue being held in India's capital, New Delhi. Let's take a look.
Well, with us now on NewsX is former head of RAW and advisor ORF, Mr. Vikram Sood. Many thanks for speaking with us on the sidelines of Raisina Dialogue 2026. We are seeing in a lot of sessions over here as well the Middle East conflict being discussed extensively. How do you view things, the hostilities between both sides, which are only increasing with each passing day? Where do you see this conflict going? Do you believe we are in for a prolonged conflict?
I think it is going to be much longer than what the Americans thought. They thought it'll be a quick in and out battle, but the Iranians are not going to give up so easily. It is their land. They're fighting for their existential battle. So it will last longer than expected. I don't know whether we've seen the worst of it yet, because President Trump keeps saying that There are tougher days ahead. You haven't seen the big wave and stuff like that. So I don't know how or where and when it will end.
You know, regime change, do you believe is the goal of the Americans, or is the goal to kind of, hit their nuclear enrichment sites the most and inflict maximum damage in terms of their defense capability?
Regime change cannot be done by air. You have to have boots on the ground. You have to have institutions on the ground that will work for you and bring about that change. If they have that, then it is possible. Otherwise, it won't happen.
But do you believe the US is ready for boots on the ground politically?
I don't think so. I don't think so.
As far as these, Middle East tensions are concerned as well, sir, we are seeing, of course, Iran target multiple bases, and because of that, multiple Gulf regions. A lot of our Indian diaspora is there. How many days do you see that happening? Because that is leading to airspace closure. That is leading to many people being stuck and stranded there as well.
I can't give a comment on that. I don't know how many days it will last, and I'm sure the government is fully aware of what they need to do about it. So I don't think I can give any advisory or any conjecture on that.
Also, let me ask you, do you believe the Israel and the US were expecting the kind of retaliation that has come in from Iran? Were they anticipating that according to you?
I don't know whether they were or not, but they should have. Thanks.
Okay. My final question to you, also on India's position now. India, of course, has our foreign minister has spoken with the Iranian foreign minister. Our prime minister spoke with the Israel prime minister as well. We've also been in touch with multiple Gulf states already. How do you view India's viewpoint and position on this?
What we are doing is quite the correct thing. We don't want the war to continue. We want them to settle their things across the table. How long or whether it will not is not something I can guarantee, or even the government can guarantee. But that's what we want to try.
But it's a correct position, of course, according to you. All right, thank you very much for joining us. With journalist Dinesh Uday Pratap Singh in Delhi, NewsX.
That's all we have time for. Keep watching NewsX World for more news updates from around the world.